Hi, my name is Patricia Gardner, Superintendent of Palmer Public Schools. I would like to welcome you to our phased-in plan meeting to provide you with information on what will be happening in Palmer schools over the next few months. We're excited to offer 4 days instead of the 2-day plan that we have been having, and there are a lot of moving pieces that we want to apprise you of. This plan will be a fluid plan that we will revise as we go. As we say all the time, none of us have had to deal with the pandemic before, so almost everything that we're doing is somewhat of a dress rehearsal. I would like to start by reading a statement from the Palmer School Committee Chair, Bonnie Rathbone, who regretfully could not be here tonight. I would just like to say that she has been a vital part of planning since actually last March on the decisions that we made in Palmer schools, and our entire school committee has been incredibly supportive and dedicated to the children of our district. And her statement says, she apologizes first for not being present today. And she says, I would like to offer my sincere thanks to the entire administrative team for planning and preparing a gradual 4-day return to school for Old Mill Pond and PHS students. I know many students and families have been looking forward to returning to more days of in-person instruction. As always, thank you parents and guardians for entrusting your children to us. Please stay safe and well. And again, that's from Bonnie Rathbone, School Committee Chair. So as we begin talking today, I would like to introduce Amanda Babinski, Director of Finance, and many people know Mary Ellen Blanchette, our Director of Nursing, our nurse leader, who have been very vital in the plans that we have made all along. So today we're going to talk about our tentative schedule of how we are going to move forward. We hope that our first week is kind of written in stone, but as we all know, throughout the pandemic, things have changed pretty rapidly. Commissioner Riley has said throughout this process that we have to be nimble as we move forward. As you know, we've had multiple plans since last August. We started with our hybrid plan, our 2-cohort plan, which has been very successful. We also had to have a full remote plan, and we had a non-hybrid plan. And so we're going to kind of go through where we are as we move to what we're going to call a semi-hybrid plan, I guess, where we're getting more students in for more days. I think that we would like to say, first of all, that we really appreciate those parents that came to the A and B cohort, and that we've had those students in school pretty much all year, except for some times when COVID was raging, and we made the decision to go to our remote plan. So for the A and B cohorts, they are invited back to 4-day learning. If you have been part of the non-hybrid plan, you cannot join the 4-day at this point, and we will talk about that a little bit later. I would just like to say that the governor and the commissioner last week made a directive to begin getting students back in school as close to regular time as we could. That was then approved by the State Board of Education. And so we are going on a directive from the Department of Education and from the governor. As we move forward, our focus, as it has been from the beginning, will be a focus on safety. We want everyone to stay well, and we will talk about some ways that we're doing that as we go along. We continue to have concerns about this virus. There's hardly anyone at this point who has not been touched by a death from COVID-19. And so we will remain diligent to that. And I think Mary Ellen can verify that we have not had an in-school transmission.
Correct.
This entire time. Fred Gerber, our Director of Maintenance, has done an outstanding job of having a plan to keep our schools clean. I think our steps as we take a look are that, beginning on March 15th, we have a plan to get juniors and seniors back at the high school, and we have a plan to bring back kindergarten, first grade in Old Mill Pond. And again, Principal North and Principal Leander will flesh that out a little bit more as we go. And again, if you're remote, you must request a return to hybrid. Each school has a process, and we are doing our best to get as many students back as we possibly can, and to make sure that we are safe at lunch, that we're safe at recess, and that our transportation is safe. And I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Babinski.
Sure. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about some of the mitigation strategies that we have in place. We work very closely, both of our school nurses and both of our LPNs, as well as our athletic trainer, Brittany Ford. So the 5 of them work very closely with myself, and we rely heavily on our Board of Health agent, Chrissy Florence, who has been exceptional in giving us advice and information, and just ensuring that we can learn everything that we can to prevent the spread of COVID-19. We do have some policies set in place as far as hand washing, sanitizing, and mask wearing. We also have social distance protocols in place at both buildings, so that students are never more than 3 feet from each other. And we do our best to accommodate a 6-foot distance when eating breakfast and lunch, and for any mass breaks. We have a very thorough cleaning schedule that our Director of Finance has put in place, which includes daily cleaning and daily disinfecting. So as a result, we've had very little illness in general in the building, but certainly no spread of COVID-19. So in addition to those strategies, sort of to be proactive, we have applied and been granted approval in two programs through the Department of Education. One is a rapid testing program, and one is a pool testing program. So the difference between the 2 programs: for rapid testing, if a student or a staff member was in school and just wasn't feeling right throughout the day, they started showing some symptoms of an illness, we have the ability to do a rapid test. And what that tells us is it gives us a small window of virus, in the sense that you'd have to be contagious to show up positive on a rapid test. If the rapid test came back positive, then we would be able to immediately quarantine anybody that was within a 6-foot radius of that student or staff member. And therefore, we're able to really minimize any potential spread from that illness. The pool testing is a very, very cool initiative that they have. The state of Massachusetts is actually funding this project through April 18th. And our school committee has approved us to fund it through the end of the school year. So we will be offering testing through the end of the school year. Right now, we're doing every Thursday. We're asking parents and staff members to consent. There are some consent links on our website. We did send home a notice as well with those consent links, and you can always contact either school nurse if you are interested in the program. We've successfully tested for 2 weeks now. So on Thursday mornings, we call down students and staff who have consented, and we conduct a PCR test, which will actually show even low levels of the virus within a person. Mm-hmm. And so it's relatively expensive to do individual PCR tests. And so the way that we're doing them is through pools. So you'll have a group of up to 10 people. It has to be more than 2, but less than 10. And they will all submit their swabs in the same tube, and so they'll only run one test for up to 10 people. If for some reason that pool came back positive, then we would be able to rapid test all 10 people to see who in the pool was actually positive, and we can do contact tracing from there. So we have tested about 100 people, and we've had all negative tests so far. The kids are actually really excited about doing it. We even saw a few hopper and skippers as they were leaving. The way we've been presenting it to them is, that this is a very cool initiative that they're able to participate in to help with the public health in their school community. We sort of talked a little bit about civic engagement and how cool it is for them to, be looking out for their fellow classmates and their staff members and their families. And they were really excited to do it. So it's non-invasive. It doesn't hurt. It tickles a little bit. We do have some competitions as far as trying to get mucus, or as I say, boogers on the swab. And the kids have had a good time with it, both at the high school and the elementary school. Mm-hmm. So we hope that we'll see an increase in participation in that program. And because we're doing it weekly, it really should eliminate spread and really decrease the any potential spread of the COVID-19 virus.
Great, thank you. And before I turn it over to Mary Ellen, I would just like to say that in every difficult situation, we always look for a silver lining. And one of our silver linings has been the relationship that we had built with the Palmer Teachers Association through this, with Ryan McNutt, the town manager, as Amanda mentioned, Chrissy Florence, the health agent, and with Chief Burns, the police chief. I think that we really found a strong core group of Palmer administration from the town and the school committee that has been ardent in making sure that our children and adults in Palmer schools have been safe, but that we've also been able to deliver the highest level of education that we possibly could during the course of the last year. So I'm very grateful for that. I'd also like to thank our task force, and at some school committee meeting, we're gonna recognize everyone who served on the task force, which is school personnel, parents, a school committee member, and they've really helped drive the decisions that we've made. We have a meeting today, and I also have a superintendent's advisory committee that has been incredibly dedicated to the plans that we have created, and I'm meeting with them as well today. So just excited about these opportunities to just further our mission. Ms. Blanchette?
Thank you. As Pat said, I'm Mary Ellen Blanchette. I'm the school nurse at Old Mill Pond. A lot of your children have had me. This is my 20th year here. And we've all been working so very hard to try to keep your children and your family safe. And I want to, first of all, thank all of you for the hard work you've done at home. You're checking your children every day. You're calling me with questions. You're not sending your children when they're sick, and you're testing them when it's appropriate. And I think the teamwork between all of us and you has paid off, and we've had a very healthy school environment since we came back in September. So thank you. Keep it up. I know we're going back to 4 days, but I still need you to keep checking your children and keep calling me with questions. I might not always have an answer, but I have a lot of answers. I've been asked a lot of questions. And when you travel, check with me when you come back, find out what you need to do, or follow the mask regulations because they're changing all the time. So what Amanda was talking about were the testing that we're so lucky to have. Mr. Leander is going to come forward and show you how to do a Binax test, which is the rapid test to detect if your child is feeling very ill, and I would like to test them. If they do not have a consent on file, I will call you, get a verbal consent from you over the phone, and then have you come in and sign the written consent. This will save you from having to run right out and get a test immediately. If the test comes back negative, your child is still ill, you will still take your child home. If they're better, perfectly better the next day, then good. If they're still sick, you'll wait the 5 days and get them tested at your doctor's office or wherever your doctor's office tells you to go. So this is the Binax test. What the student does is they come to the office and we put them in a room. It's a quarantine room that keeps them safe and keeps everyone else safe from any germs they may have been exposed to. And what we'll do is we will open up this Q-tip and they will take it. If they're too small, we will do it for them. I'm going to have Mr. Leander do this himself. I think he's capable.
The only difference between the Q-tip for the rapid test and the Q-tip for the pool testing
smaller.
is that it's a little bit smaller, but it's the exact same
So
process.
it can fit in this tube.
And it would go in that tube rather than in the
This little
that
card.
is. Yes,
So
the card.
I have a little chuckle every time I do this because to me, and if you're a female, it looks like a pregnancy test. So what happens is he does the swab. So he's going to do 5 swirls up to as high as he can without hurting on one side, come out, do 5 swabs on the other side. The most it will make your child do is possibly sneeze. And that's kind of what we want them to do. Then I will take this back and it goes into this card. There will be reagent on here and we swirl it 3 times. We seal it up. And we wait 15 minutes. We set a timer, 15 minutes goes off. If there's 2 pink lines, it's positive. If there's still just the pink line at the top, it's negative. Your child will still have to go home because your child is sick. But you'll at least we'll all have a heads up as to whether your child has gotten anyone else exposed to the virus. So
And all of our tests have been negative.
Yes, I've had one.
Was there one?
One.
Okay.
But it was all kept
That was a
contained.
rapid, not a...
It was a
okay.
rapid, yeah.
Right.
And so, like Amanda said, the difference is if we're doing your child for the pool testing, they'll still swirl both sides. They'll all place into this little tube, their Q-tip, and it gets sent off to a laboratory to be tested for the PCR results. So it's a little bit quicker, not quicker, but we can test a whole bunch of people. We can test up to 10 students and staff in here, and we'll have the results within 24 hours, you'll know. And then we can do, if it's a positive, we do a rapid on everyone involved to find out who the positive is. If we still can't figure out who the positive is, we will do a PCR and send that out. We have the ability to do that as well.
Great.
Thank you.
I would like to welcome Principal Michael Leander and Principal Susan North, who are going to spell out their plan a little bit more. You will receive further information from today. What we do today as well will be placed on our website. And again, thanks to M-PACT TV for allowing us to do this. Mr. Leander?
Thank you, Ms. Gardner. Good afternoon. My name is Mike Leander. I'm the principal of Old Mill Pond. We are very excited to be combining Cohort A and Cohort B students. We are hopeful to begin welcoming our kindergarten and grade 1 students on March 15th. And if all goes well, our 2nd and 3rd graders on March 22nd, and our 4th and 5th graders on March 29th. We'll continue to have and practice safety protocols throughout the building, such as wearing masks, walking one way in the hallway, and working on maintaining social distance between students and staff. We are hoping to minimize the changes in the schedule, but some shifts may be necessary to accommodate the more students that are being added into the building. You can still choose to have your child on the remote plan. We will live stream from the classroom. It may look a little bit different due to less online support. And please be patient with us when you're dropping off and picking up your child. We want everyone to remain to be safe. So the process may be a little bit slower, but we'll continue to work on it. Thank you very much.
Mrs. North?
Thank you, Ms. Gardner. Hi, everyone. My name is Mrs. North. I am the principal at Palmer High School. So currently the information that we have for the high school phased in to return to 4 days hybrid learning plan is for our seniors and juniors to return on Monday, March 15th. Then hopefully the following week, which is March 22nd, we would have our 10th, our 9th, and our 6th grade students join us for 4 days. Our 7th and 8th grade is still to be determined. All safety protocols will be followed according to current DESE guidelines, requirements, and the district plan. Each grade level would be invited to increase to 4 days of in-person learning only after the previous 2 grades have been entered successfully. So this is a tentative plan. We have a high-stakes MCAS testing in person for all Wednesdays in May and the first Wednesday in June for our 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. All students will be remote on those Wednesdays. The information about our plan will be posted on the school website for references and updates by the end of the week. We are still working on details such as the lunch, and students can remain on the remote plan. We will still do live stream from the classrooms, but this will definitely look different. Thank you.
Thank you both very much. We're now going to discuss transportation. It's our hope that we get many, many students back riding our buses. The commissioner and Boston Public Health and many other agencies have said that bus transportation is a safe way to go. And We're very lucky to have Drew Damien, who is a national expert on public transportation, particularly school buses. It's not only his work, but his passion. So we are incredibly lucky to have Drew. People call all the time from everywhere wanting Drew's opinion on transportation. And again, we're extremely lucky to have him, as well as Amanda, who our office is pretty small, so we all kind of do whatever is necessary. But Amanda's always a huge help in transportation and other things in our office. Drew?
So, hi, everyone. We're very excited about the return to 4 days a week, and I'm particularly excited about school transportation. While we will continue to use the drop-off lines at the 2 schools, I encourage you to please put your children on the school buses. Science has proven that the air exchanges in those school buses make them one of the safest places to be during COVID. We will continue to ask students to wear masks on the buses, and the buses are still being sanitized and cleaned on a regular basis. But again, we ask that you please consider putting your kids on the bus. We're excited to have them aboard. The routes won't change much, and we will be posting the latest routes on our website early next week. So we'll be good to go.
One of the things that we just want to mention to folks right now is we have our routes in place. And so if you are currently riding the bus, you're all set to continue riding the bus for 4 days. If you're someone who's doing the pickup line, drop off and pickup line, or walking to school, however you're getting there, and you are looking to now come to school on the school bus, we just ask that you email Mr. Damien at transportation@palmerschools.org. This information is on our website as well. But please email that with the name of your child, the grade, and your address, and wait for a response before putting your child on the bus. Our school bus drivers know that they can only take the individuals who are on their list. And so we just want to make sure that we update routes, we don't leave anybody off, and that our bus drivers are aware of who's getting on the bus and whatnot. So we do have room on our school buses. With the updated guidance from DESE and the new studies, we can accommodate safely significantly more children on the school bus. And so you're welcome to go back on the school bus. Just please email transportation@palmerschools.org with their child's name, grade, and address, and just wait for a response as to when they can start riding the bus. Thank you.
So we had asked for anyone with any questions to please send them to Mr. Leander by 1 p.m. today. This meeting happened very, very quickly, so we weren't trying to shortchange you on the amount of time that you had to send questions. But we did get a few questions, and we're going to take some time to answer those now.
One of the first questions that I'll just kind of sum up what people said. Can we drop our child off in the morning and have them take the bus home in the afternoon? And the answer to that is yes. What we'd like is, if you're going to be taking the bus home in the afternoon, just make sure that it's the same stop every single day, 5 days a week. It gets very difficult if they're going to take the bus on Monday, Tuesday to a certain spot, then Wednesday, Thursday to another spot, and then back on Friday. We just ask that they're dropped off at one spot so they have one seat on the bus on their way home.
Right, and that's assuming that they have currently been riding the bus. If they have not been riding the bus, we would love to have them rejoin using the bus, but they will need to email Drew at transportation@palmerschools.org. But we will remain on the one drop-off, one pickup policy. But, if you want to add them, if you're already on the buses, as Amanda and Drew have said, the bus will be there for you and it will take you home.
Okay, second question. Can I choose to remain on the remote plan? And the answer is yes, you definitely can still continue with the remote plan. Will it look different? Yes, it will, because we now have our students in for the 4 days of the hybrid plan. Teachers will still be doing live streaming, but it can look very different for our remote families.
Thank you.
Question number 3 is, how can I drop off my kindergarten child if I have another child in a different grade that is supposed to be online? And so we are definitely going to be working with you. We understand that this is a concern, but also that it's only in a couple of weeks. We're hopeful that the student in the other grade will be joining us at school for 4 days. So if they miss something in the morning, they can just jump right back on when they get home.
And again, we recommend our bus transportation. If you use our bus services, you will not have an issue with one child missing while you're picking up or delivering another child. So we really recommend bus transportation. As Drew says, it's among the safest way that you can travel. And if you're willing to do that, that will eliminate your problem. If you're not willing to utilize bus transportation, then you will have to discuss that with your child's administrator.
Next question. How can I sign my child up for homeschool?
Well, the administrative team and I don't have a lot of experience in homeschooling. Homeschooling has absolutely nothing to do with public education. We do have an application on our website for those who choose to homeschool. It is an application that you have to fill out, and one of the biggest parts of my accepting a homeschool application is that you have a clear assessment plan for your child. I believe that there are probably websites. There might be something on the DESE website about homeschooling, and there are some homeschooling groups in this area, I believe, but I am not familiar with them. But if you choose to homeschool, you would unenroll your child and you would find the resources to homeschool. We do not provide curriculum or any other services to homeschool parents or homeschool children. And that's just common throughout the Commonwealth and the nation, that if you choose to homeschool, then you are taking full responsibility for your child's education. But the application that you complete for us, and it's a Massachusetts general law, you do have to have a robust way to assess your children's learning to make sure that they stay on grade level and are receiving an appropriate education.
The next question is, can my child remain on a 2-day hybrid plan rather than going back to school 4 days? And the answer to that right now is no. We're going to be doing a 4-day combination of cohort A and B, and we're fortunate to be getting the students back, and we'll do the best we can to maintain all the safety protocols. But all of our students will be coming back 4 days, except for the ones that choose to remain on the remote platform.
And if you think that the 2-day was best for your child, unfortunately at this point we're going to ask that you return to a non-hybrid / remote plan, because we really are moving our focus to 4 days in-person learning.
All right.
And that covers all the specific questions that were asked.
And if you do have further questions, or if we have not answered your questions today, please be a little patient with us. There will be information on our website by tomorrow with the information that we've covered today and possibly some additional information. But if there's a question that is burning you, please feel free to contact the appropriate administrator or director. Obviously, if it's Old Mill Pond, you can contact Mr. Leander, Ms. Riopel, or Ms. Pettit. For Palmer High, you can contact Mrs. North or Ms. Mahoney. And Mr. Leander's doing double duty, as many of you know, so you can contact him as well. If it's a question that you're not sure where to go, please feel free to call my office. And if it's transportation, please reach out to Mr. Damien. And again, if you have any health concerns or any questions about your children's health, please contact Mrs. Blanchett. I know that throughout the pandemic, she has answered questions all hours of the day and 7 days a week, and I know that she's still willing to do it. So thank you very much for joining us for this very important information session.